back in the daytime again, because I feel like that suits us both well, really.
Both so much better.
Yeah, late night was just killing us. Wasn't working that well. We're hitting the daytime. Beautiful Monday. Summer is officially here. It's amazing. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you.
Summer's officially here?
Well, officially.
Summer starts in December, doesn't it?
Nah, don't think so.
We'll leave that up to
the science. They'll get back to us on that.
Okay.
Anyway, episode 11, just shout out to Jimmy's Burgers, Evergreen Landscaping, AccuFit, Acupuncture for doing everything they do, Soho for filming this beautiful thing for us, and Coco's Cafe for supplying us with our treats and all that good stuff for us. And yeah, we'll get straight into it. So we didn't see Will on, sorry, I forgot to get him. Anyway, so we didn't see Will again on the weekend because he's recently entered fatherhood, which is a tremendous experience and
super tremendous.
I can't wait to gain some insight on that because obviously I don't have kids of my own.
But it does give you another week with the Jids belt around your waist, so I'm sure you've wasted no time flaunting that around the place.
Little Bowie was born 31st.
Bowie Gabriel Grant, born 31st of October, Halloween. Looks like we're dressing up every year for his birthday. Oh, so good.
Seems good.
But it's been we're nearly at 2 weeks since he's been born. It's just been hectic. Like, I've been blown away by the stuff that I've picked up well. I've been blown away by the stuff that I struggle with. But just overall, and it's cliche to say it, you talk to anyone that's been at their child's birth and having a kid, they all tell you you're just so full with love and all this other stuff, but you just can't put it into words. I really thought I would struggle with the crying and not understanding what was wrong, whether it's food, gas, pooey nappy, or, tired, whatever it is. I really thought I would struggle with that communication. And then I thought I would struggle changing nappies. I thought I would struggle with, being spewed on and farted on and crapped on. But it's awesome. It's like you would literally do anything for this little ball of life that you've created. It's out of control.
Yeah.
I've never experienced something where I just want to throw myself so balls deep into every little thing I can do to possibly make it better and just, not expect anything in return other than, changing more nappies.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I'm absolutely frothing on being a dad. Going for walks and chilling, sleeping together, feeding him the bottle. It's just all these little things that you don't really feel like they mean that much, but it's the greatest activities I've ever done in my life. It's just on a different level. The sleep deprivation though, I really thought I would deal a lot better, but that shit's messed up. So messed up.
But it's different deprivations. When you do anything like that, it's got to be different when it's on your own terms. If you're I'm making a choice to go out, have a good time, come back when I feel like it. You're I'm paying for it because I made that decision. But someone else is regulating that for you. It must be crazy in that sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like you go, all right, well, I had a big night last night, I'm going to catch up my sleep now. It's no, tomorrow's the same. It's the same again, and then the same again. And it's you get into bed, and we're starting to find a little bit of routine, at almost 2 weeks, where we can bridge, a sleep of 2 to 3 hours at a time together. And Em and I kind of do shift work where one of us will do the feed and one of us, and then settle and put them back to bed while the other sleeps, and then we switch for the next feed and settle. And it's just you wake up and you're so delirious, and you don't even know where you are, what's happening, what's even doing. And last night Emma woke up and she's oh, it's can you get up? I'm really tired. I didn't really sleep on my shift. And I'm no, it's cool. I'll get up. I just rolled over and went back to sleep. And she's Will. I'm what? Yeah. What? What's up? I'm up. Yeah. Nappy change. Cool. And she's no, you've got to get, there's a bottle in the fridge and there's 120 mils in it, but just pour 80 out, because if you heat it all up and he doesn't take it, then we have to throw the rest of it out. So just put 80 mils in, and then if you do the other 40 mils after if he wants more. Okay, yeah, sweet, all right. 80 mils, fuck, 120. Okay, sweet. Walk out of the kitchen, you've just got no idea. You turn the fridge opens up and you're like, shit, someone's just put a spotlight in your face. Like, baby starts crying because he's getting hungrier by the second. You're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? There's some anti-terrorism shit. Like, I'll tell you whatever you want. Yeah. I'm done. Like, what do you want me to rat on? Just let me go back to sleep. But it's so bad. And like, I've never ever had a problem getting out of bed to be motivated in my life. I'll tell you what, my alarm goes off in the morning now to like get up and start getting ready for work, and I'm like, snooze, snooze, snooze. Oh shit, I got 3 minutes to get to the gym.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy. Man.
It's just out of this world.
Yeah. It's obviously stuff you can't really anticipate, because you talk about a lot of these ideas, you know, where like circumstance changes you, you know, but it's funny having, you know, when it comes to like a work environment, you know, there's certain energies and certain elements that might shift, like having a new person come to work there. So you had a really good environment, and now it's difficult because you've got someone who's like a terrible son of a bitch or something like that changes the element. Or you've got someone who's really, really positive, and in the converse, it makes that environment even better. But you've got someone now who's like this little person that just changes the dynamic of every experience. Like everything that you do. Like even when we went out the other day, just putting in the car and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, see you later, I'm gone. I'm probably home and you're like, oh, I've got to get him in the car still, you know, hanging out.
And that's it. Like, and everyone always says like, you can never be prepared to have a kid. Like you can have everything in place, which we did. We had everything ready, all the stuff, like all the plans in the world. But baby might be a good sleeper, baby might be a terrible sleeper. You just got to play whatever cards you've been dealt. And I mean, for the most part, Bowie's a legend. Like he feeds well, he sleeps well when he's asleep. But it's just like, you know, it's us not being adapted to his lifestyle. You know, it's just growth. It's like at the end of the day, I figure this is what we chose. And like, I think that's why I'm so keen to be involved in like making everything as easy as I can for Emma, making everything as easy as I can for Bowie, because a happy baby needs a happy mum. And the hormonal response that they get is hectic, like so crazy what their bodies go through and what their bodies do. Like Bowie starts crying and like milk starts lactating from Emma. It's like, it's crazy that her body knows that he's hungry. It's like, not just at any cry, it's only for the hungry cry. And it's just like, fuck, like they're just wired to coexist. And here I am just cleaning the dishes and mopping up, like, oh yeah, you know, need another nappy change? Yeah, I want it. You know, just to make it easier for them to, you know, get through these initial stages. Because like there's not a great deal that I can do other than just play the support role. And I mean, I'm frothing on it. So much fun.
Does you think in that first 2 weeks, like, you know how the old adage is, takes a village to raise a child? Do you feel like that in the first 2 weeks that you've already seen that? Do you think it's something that's going to come as a...
Well, even like, I still see it now, and I still see it for like how my family used to be too. And how like, you know, families are around us as well. And like the people that are open to accepting help have a much easier time transitioning. The people that try and do it themselves, and, you know, kudos to you. But if you've got people around you that are willing to help and willing to help you grow through this period, I think why wouldn't you take it? It was simple the other day. Em's mum rocked up with a roast dinner, like whacked it in the oven for, you know, a little bit longer to make sure it was perfectly cooked and the veggies and stuff were all ready to go. And it's like, you don't realize how much easier that makes life. Like the prep before dinner, you know, one person has to be making sure the child's okay, the other person will be cooking. And even in a normal relationship, if you've just got one person doing one thing, one person doing the other all the time, you're gonna butt heads eventually. So add a child to that, add a hormonal mother to that, and you're gonna butt heads much more than you would normally. So accepting help from, you know, my brother and Emma's sister that are close by. We've got friends that are really keen to play a role and help us out. We've got Em's mum. We've got my mum that'll pop up heaps. Like, you know, she lives 4 hours away, but she's already said, like, you just tell me when you need me to come up for a few days and I'll be there. Yeah. And it's that kind of thing that if you can make life as comfortable for yourself as possible, then you're in a much better position to do those things for the baby. and it becomes less of a chore. You know, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, you know, I feel guilty about this, I feel guilty about that. It's like, well, if you step back from the situation a little while, Emma's always the first person to offer to cook people meals when they're sick or something's going wrong, or, you know, do you need me to walk your baby, or do you need me to come clean your house while you're in hospital or something like that. She's always the first person to do it. And I'm always giving of my time to my mates, you know, if they're moving, if they need help heavy lifting or putting something together, or, you know, I'm never backward in offering my help to my mates or, you know, people who need it. So in that turn, I feel fine asking for help, you know, and especially if someone's willing to do it because they want to be more involved in Bowie's life. It's like, sure, why would I knock back that opportunity for someone to grow a relationship with my son and, you know, help me and my wife out at the same time? So yeah, I'm a big advocate of it takes a village. And I think, you know, more power to the people that can, you know, do it by themselves. But I feel like it's more valuable for us as a family and him as an individual to have people around him that offer different, you know, insights. And like, I mean, even though he's only tiny and, you know, just looks at you and stares and pokes his tongue out and farts, you know, he's listening, he's absorbing. So hearing different voices, hearing different tones, hearing different words, different energies, you know, that's all going to attribute to his growth overall.
Yeah.
So why would I rob him of that and say, no one can help, we're the only parents, we're the only people that know what he wants?
Yeah.
Like that, I'm just guessing.
Exactly, robbing yourself of that experience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And everyone's got their opinions. Like, everyone that's had a kid has their opinion. And everyone that doesn't have kids has their opinion. I had an opinion before I had kids. It was completely fucking off. But now I'm like, I can see why I thought the things I thought and why I was ignorant enough to, you know, think that certain things wouldn't change. They would, but it's not even for the reasons that you think again. Like, I thought that my training would, like, if my training was going to suck, it would be not by choice. But like, Emma has been every day like, go train now, go train now. And I'm like, actually, I'm just going to take another half-hour nap, and then I'm going to spend that, you know, next hour chilling out with Bowie, and I might read him a book or, you know, sit on the floor. I'm like, I can stretch on the ground. But it's like, it's by choice, and it's because you're completely obsessed with like this new form of life. And at the end of the day, like, when you think about it, like, you create life. Like, we literally manufactured a human being that is going to have input in this world. That just blows me away. It's like, this child is going to leave a footprint on society that his dad's currently trying to leave a footprint on, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to grow up to be something. Who knows what?
Yeah.
But something. And we started that. And we get to help him with that. That to me is like the greatest fucking gift of all. It's just out of control.
It's definitely interesting because you hear from a lot of people that not just fatherhood but parenthood changes you, and that all the like things are going to change for you. So we come with like feedback recently, even leading up to like the last part of the pregnancy and the birth phase, is that a lot of people come up to you and they'll be like, this is going to change, bros, your life's going to be different, bro, like, you're not going to appreciate, like, you can't do all this stuff now. Like, and I think it's fascinating because, like, even though it's only been 2 weeks, right, and dynamics going to shift, one of my biggest insecurities in life, I think, is having my life sort of dictated to me by like external influences. Like, I get the family and the child and the unit, it's like that, but it's kind of like if you're like, oh, I really love painting, and Emma's like, oh, you like painting, do you? I just threw your painting out the window, how do you think about that? And you're like, what the, like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes into other ways, like, oh, I don't want you driving the cars or the things that you like, or going to the gym as much, or doing all these different things. And I think it's like, have you kind of, I know you said that you kind of tasted that little bit of, oh, I thought this stuff before I started and I was proven kind of wrong in like either the lens or the framework that I was thinking in. But do you think as your trajectory moves forward, obviously as the kid grows, it's going to be a little bit different, but do you think that that the life that you kind of planned out, he's still going to be in a supportive role, and then you can still do the things that you want to do? Or do you think that direction, that trajectory has shifted and stuff like that? I don't know if I'm asking the right way, but do you know what I mean?
I understand what you mean. And yes, to a certain extent, like, so what I had thought was that not much would change, but that was because my attitude was purely about, you know, wanting to not change my rhythm, not do anything like that. And I didn't realize how much I would want to be around him. Because I'm fortunate enough that I run my own business, and, you know, I can teach my classes in the mornings and the evenings, but, you know, and then admin from home. So I can be around him all day if I choose to. And I do choose to. I don't want to go and do stuff most of the time at the moment. Like, I'm just absorbing this new life, this, you know, this excitement, like watching all these little things, like, and the 2 weeks already has changed so much, like hectically. He's like starting to look like a real human, less of an alien. And it was just my attitude pre and post baby was different in the fact that I see so many dads have to go back to work. So they don't get the choice. It's like, you've got to go. And that's 8 hours a day plus.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm on the flip side of that, where it's, you know, 2 or 3 hours of the day and I can be back home if I choose to be. And I didn't think I would choose being home so much as I am. You know, I'm fine with just sneaking an hour of training in every couple of days at the moment. I mean, I would expect that will change, and once I can bring him with me, you know, I want him to be more involved in my life, you know, get around that movement game early, you know, start jit, start surfing, you know, get him into as many things as possible. But I think that was the big thing. Pre-baby, I didn't know how much I would love him and how much I would want to be around him.
Yeah, that's great.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Like, obviously it's going to be this evolving thing.
Yeah, and I spoke to one of my mates who's got, I think it's 2 now, a 2-year-old, and he's like, look, man, the fucked up thing about being a dad is, like, you find a rhythm and you start to get good at it, and you're like, yeah, I'm sleeping, I'm training, I'm working, woo, got the shit sorted. And then there's a growth phase, and the baby changes completely, and it's like, nah, I'm fucking flipping everything on its head. This is what we're doing now. And it takes you 6 to 12 weeks to cotton onto it, and you're like, yeah, sweet, we found rhythm. Then bang, flip it again.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's constant change. But I mean, that's what excites me now. It's like, my life doesn't have any room for stagnation.
Yeah.
Like, I will never be stagnant ever again. And I love that. There's no plateaus. It's just rhythm, growth. Wait, growth. For you watching this video, don't even pay attention to my hands. Sleep deprivation is real. But it's just like, you go through your little like setting of their routine, and then they'll change and they'll grow, and then you get used to that, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, it's never going to be the same, which I love. It's fucking just so exciting to me that I'm going to be challenged by myself on a certain level, but challenged by the growth that Bowie goes through, you know, and the attitudes and opinions that he starts to develop, you know, the way he feels about walking for the first time or crawling. You know, this next year is just going to be a blowout.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. I also think it's fascinating that when you talk about all aspects of your life and things that you're kind of building on to as an accessory to improve your life, like if your nutrition's suffering or something like that, you bring on nutrition. If your healthcare's suffering, you adjust and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, there's a certain period to be like, well, people would say, okay, well, I can't do what you're doing because I don't have a business, I don't have a job in which that's where I can just take that time off, or I can't do that. But it's fascinating that you go, yeah, but what you wanted to do was build a platform in which you had that type of life. And I think that's like the biggest difference, is like when people go, but I want to try and build it. I don't know if I'm going to be right in that sense, or if I'm going to be like way off the mark and things are just going to be hectic if we have children. But I'm like, I want to build a life in which things just add and support something, and then I have the time to do that. Like running your own business anyone who runs their own business knows it's a fucking punish.
It's 7 days a week.
It's constant.
There's no two ways about it. It's 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You never stop.
But the big difference is if you go, I need this time to take off and I want this time to do what I want to do, you can do that, and you just filter and work things out around it. But you're not set by going, oh, okay, well, I have to be here at 9 a.m. no matter what, and I finish here at 5. It's like I can do what I want around it.
Yeah, but in saying that, like, you know, you get that freedom, but you're also shackled to it as well. You know, I was answering emails and questions and everything my whole honeymoon. You know, the first couple of days with Bowie, you know, I had to make sure that things were getting done and things were getting put into place. You know, I couldn't afford for the chaos to arrive just because I needed to take my foot off the throttle for 3 days.
Yeah.
And but I mean, you're exactly right in that the last 2 years, and it has always been the clearest goal of mine to create a lifestyle as a job. And that's what I've done. That's what Ghetto is. And that's what Ghetto will grow even more to be for more people over time. You know, I want people to see Ghetto and like what we're doing here as the benchmark for, you know, chasing down your passion in life and turning it into a job. You know, being able to say, like for me, I used to train for 3 to 4 hours a day, but that's a part of my job, but it's what I choose to do. So when I tell people, oh yeah, like, you know, I had a big day today, you know, and they're like, oh, did you get time to train? I'm like, yeah, 3 to 4 hours. And they're like, what? I thought you said you had a big day. I'm like, well, that's actually my job. That's my work. I made that my work.
Yeah. It's funny how your business is more like an education facility than it is really like movement to a certain extent.
Fully is.
Because you're trying to use, and even like when I look at it in like my business as a practice, is like you're trying to use yourself as an example or a template in which you're still growing, you're still evolving, you're still like learning the ropes and trying to figure shit out, and it's not necessarily easy. And your healthy, your movement practice might be suffering through certain periods, and there's elements in your life where it's not working, but you're trying to set a path for people so that they can keep going down that path, and like someone's already treaded that. It's like going on a hike and somebody's already made their way through that path. So you're like, well, I know that it's at least doable to get through there. It's going to have its like ups and downs.
But that's the thing. Everyone's so worried about the downs. But it's like, what the fuck do you learn when you're at the top of the mountain? Other than it's a nice view.
Yeah.
You know, you need the struggles to be able to build towards something. And then you need something to go wrong so you can figure out how to stay up there for longer next time. Because it can't last. You know, something will inevitably happen that goes wrong. And like the best thing for us here is the ebbs and flows of members. Because we need the members. We need people in here to pay the bills. But to have members in here, we need to have people moving well, people getting great results, people being happy with what they're doing, people being addicted to it, same as me. So who wants to come to a gym or a movement facility where the guy that runs the show and calls the shots, you know, can't do a handstand, can't sit in a deep squat and struggles?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, if that guy's perfect at all the movement, it's annoying. So the reason it works is because I'm not good at everything. You know, I'm dedicated to bettering myself every single day, and I learn from the people that come in here, whether they're students or teachers. I learn the way that they move and see if it can be adapted to my frame. You know, my shoulders, I've had operations, my hips suck, but everyone sees the dedication and the drive that is behind me to better myself. So it makes it easier for them to access that and drive themselves forward. It's the same as if you run in the acupuncture clinic downstairs. No one wants to come in and see this rough, masculine energy that's just, you know, bumper bars up, like no connection. People want to come in and like get that virtual hug from your big energy. Like feel the love as soon as they walk in the door, and your soft voice, and you explain everything to people in such a way that it's like, you know, you're luring them in. That's what they need in that vicinity. You know, you go to a bodybuilding gym, you don't want that soft, energetic cuddle.
Yeah.
You know, you want masculine energy roaring at you to lift that deadlift or, you know, pump that bicep. You need it. It's horses for courses.
Yeah.
And in here, it just has to intertwine everything.
Yeah. You have to get, for your own facility, you have to find that balance in between. Because you offer so many different things, right?
Well, it's not that we offer it, it's just that it's there. You know,
yeah, but I mean, like, you can't have someone yelling at you in yoga. Like, I mean, you can have someone pushing you, but you can't be like, you fucking done with dog shit, man. Fucking lift your game. Like, what? What am I talking about? I'm doing my best.
I thought you leave the ego at the door. It says so on the wall.
False.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I say it's like on paper, you know, we're a movement and yoga facility. We're a bit of a wellness center now. But we're so much more than that when you walk in the doors. And that's what we've been working hard for. You know, when we both get messages or, you know, phone calls or people catch us for 5 or 10 minutes, it turns into half an hour for a chat, asking advice about what's happening in their life and how they can change things, or, you know, people finding their passion projects. That's why we're here. You know, because we're doing it. We're doing those things that people want to do. And so our biggest asset, you know, whilst having this space and downstairs is amazing, our biggest asset is our experience. What we've gone through, what we're going through, what we will face in the future. We had a chat last week, and I put a post up last night saying, the fear of being mediocre is what motivates me. You know, and you've said before that the only thing you're afraid of is asking yourself that question at the end. Like, did I have a crack, or did I just fucking ease my way through? Did I change the game, or, you know, did I take handouts?
I heard my boy David Goggins say that,
Goggins,
I love him, man. I know it myself.
Can't stand him.
I love it.
Have a sleep, bruv.
No sleep.
It's too much caffeine, not enough Zeds.
He did something like an hour straight of push-ups the other day. It was just cracking me up. So he said one of his big motivators and his big drives is like he's a big God man, but he believes that there's like something in the end where you have a conversation. Egyptians, ancient cultures was the same thing. It's like you have that conversation at the end, which is what I alluded to in the other podcast that we did, other podcast episode. And he goes, God has everything charted out and written down. So it was like, we were born at this time. And it's like at age 3, age 6, 18, 25, whatever, all the way up until this point, up until this conversation right now. And he lays it out and he's like, this is the path that was set for you based on your fate, your experience, your karma, all this stuff. That was the path that was set. And he goes, the conversation that God would normally have with a normal person, and you achieve them. You got these points like, don't be upset, don't be too hard on yourself, come on through. He goes,
open up the gates.
Yeah, open up the gates, let's get it in, right? And he goes, the conversation I want to have is like, God laid out this plan for me, and he's like, and he goes, I can't believe that you did all of these other things as well. Like your path was just this, and you took it to the next level. Like you went beyond that fate, that expectation. He's like, that's the kind of conversation I have. And then he wants to walk past him and chill out. And I was like, that kind of motivation of like not being mediocre and like going for more, I think this should be a massive driver for you.
Huge. But I mean, that's the thing though, like, how many people do you look at and you see, you can like pull it up at the traffic lights and look to the car to your left and right, and you see shoulders slumped forward, head down, just negative energy on people, you know? And it's like, and the fucked up thing is that when you look to the car next to you and it's that upbeat person jamming out to that new track, and it's like, oh, what a weirdo. Like, wonder what drugs they're on.
Yeah.
It's like, you're so negative that even seeing a happy person makes you more negative and have to rip on them.
Yeah.
It's like the only person that can change your situation is you. You're the only one that can do it. And if you're not willing to do it, if you're not willing to face a little bit of resistance, if you're not willing to try a little bit harder in certain areas, if you're not willing to do the things that others won't, your life ain't changing.
But even worse than that is like, oh, but you can still be okay. You know what I mean? Like you can still have the decent job, good paycheck, family, all that stuff set up, live in a nice place. Like we live in paradise.
Yeah,
like you live in a nice place, everything's good, right? But it's like, yeah, that was fine though. That doesn't, those landmarks that you set, you could have gone beyond that. You could have challenged yourself and gone beyond that. Like you're in that that comfort setting and experience is like, yeah, but you had the opportunity to do so much more. And that's the thing that's like, that's a big motivator and that's a big drive.
Yeah.
And if one thing is, if your son ever came to me for advice in that respect,
I hope he doesn't.
I hope he catches me in a good time. So I just browse the shit out of it. But I hope he comes in that one period and I'm like, just do the things, like everyone's going to expect big things from you. Everyone's going to expect the standard from you. And lots of it, like you're going to expect things for your child, right? It's like just
one arm handstand by age 6.
That's a little late, right? Slow development. And we all expected big things, not necessarily movement, but just as a human being, right? Being around this environment, this community, all these things, we expect big things for you. But we want you to expect big things for yourself and let your standard dictate, what your life's journey is, what your path is.
And it's interesting in that light, like what you just said then. And you can take that two ways. You can take what he's just said and you can go, all right, well, we want you to expect big things of yourself. As soon as you hear that though, you almost go, oh, but we don't want you to be too hard on yourself. And I put up a post last night saying about my motivation is fear of being mediocre, and I described like the growth challenges I'm going through at the moment and expecting more of myself and wanting to do better in certain things. And I don't look at myself as someone that looks at themselves poorly. I don't look at myself as someone that is hard on themselves. I just hold myself accountable to a certain level that only I keep myself to. Like, people can have their opinions and people can do whatever, but I have a level of expectation that I want to hit. And it was funny because so many of the messages and the comments that I got back were, oh, you're doing such a great job, but you need to be easy. You need to not be so hard on yourself. And it's just all that is just a twisted perception of what's actually happening. And I can see how it would be misconstrued. And it was like, it just took that, because I was reading it over and over going, where in here am I being hard on myself? Like, I'm just fucking, being a little bit honest and getting it out there to keep accountable.
I think that's a big difference. So someone, and this is something that you need to communicate, and I try and communicate on a daily basis. Like if you have someone who wants to get this crazy goal, right? And they're like, and you're like, you need to do a lot of work and you need to become that person who's capable of doing that. And the reason the way that you do that is train every single day to get to that point. But don't punish yourself in the sense of, don't punish yourself so it works against your trajectory moving forward. So don't punish yourself and be like, oh, my health's shit, I've been here like for 4 years, my life's fucked. Don't punish yourself. It's not going to serve your journey moving forward.
Come jump on the table, let me put some pins in.
See what happens. But it's like that idea of being like, if it's, punishing yourself is self-destructive and it's self-limiting. That's a big difference from being like, I expect big things and I want that constant motivation.
I want it, I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at everything, is that if I set my mind to whatever I want, I know I can achieve it, flat stick. Like if I want to become Prime Minister in the next 10 years, you take avenues, you talk to people, you do what you have to do a couple of courses in politics, learn some fucking riff-raff, I don't know. But you know what I mean?
If you were like Lord Mayor of the world, bro, that would be the funniest fucking thing, man.
Maybe I will. Maybe that's what happens next. Maybe that's where this road leads us to. Changing the game. Yoga for everyone.
Yeah. Yoga. Everyone gets in a sidebar.
The acai bowls are on me would be my slogan. But that's probably something that I would never do because it doesn't interest me. But contextually, I honestly believe that whatever I set my mind to, I can go and do. It might take time. I'm not a person that's scared of putting in the hard yards. I'm not a person that's scared of change. I'm not a person that's worried about what other people think. And I feel that those things complement the way I operate. But as you just said, it's so easy to flip that in other people. If you're not clear on where you're going and you think you need to be at certain points by certain times, then you're going to be negative on it. But I think the thing that people don't understand about the way I set myself goals and targets is that I've had the same goals for the last 5 years physically. When I first started doing handstands, I had a goal that I could do a one-arm handstand in 12 months. I had a goal that I could stall to press in that 12 months. And they're still my goals now. I'm not fazed by that at all. It just makes me hungry to get them. I'm getting closer. I can see the growth and the development. But they're the same goals I had in 2013. You know, everyone just assumes that it's like, oh, you know, he's hard on himself when he doesn't hit those targets. It's like, I don't expect to hit certain targets. If I do hit them, I'm almost not setting myself a high enough mark. So it's like, success is built on failure. You know, so if you don't get a taste of not reaching something from time to time, you're going to lose the hunger to do it. You know, you need to be chasing something that you can't quite reach. You know, it's like the dog chasing the bone that's tied out on its head, you know. The stick is the motivator, not the bone.
Yeah.
You know, how far is it out in front of you? That's what's going to make you run to it. Not the bone itself. That's just that, you know, it's just that little bit that looks good.
Is there anything in life, and this is what I think, because like at this point in my like at my business career and all that stuff with Chinese medicine, every single thing that I asked for has come to pass. And it's like, it's very interesting. It's like there's very few times in my life where I haven't asked for something and it hasn't materialized in some capacity. It may not necessarily look exactly the way that I thought it was going to look, and it may not have come to pass in the way that I thought it was. Like I never thought when I first started practicing that I would have to do so much self-examination of every weak point in my personality at any time that I want to check out and go home early, any time that I want to do this, do something else, expand beyond or extend myself beyond what I'm actually mentally and physically capable of doing. Being like, oh, let's treat 100 people today. It's like, but my energy's fucking, it takes me 3 months to recover from that. It's like, oh, I have to learn that lesson. But it's interesting, is like, I think people get lost in that if when you ask for something and it hasn't necessarily come right now, that it's not on its way to you. And if you don't spend the time to like really unpack what it is that you want and what it is that you're working for, you're gonna end up at that point and see it the way that you may not necessarily have wanted to see it. I think that that's really interesting when you look at it in the framework of, oh, I need a partner, I need somebody. And you're like, if you don't set the intention of the type of person and why you want that type of person, you'll find someone and they won't be the person that you want them to be. And it'll force that examination. It'll take 5 years of being like, this is a bad relationship or whatever.
Just like that with friends as well. And people come and go, and you know, you're going to learn lessons from it. Like people come into your life for a reason. And you know, they may be the lesson that you asked to learn. But if you're not open to what's actually happening around you and you have that, woe is me, oh, this always happens to me, you're never going to get anything. The things that you want are there in front of you. You can have it. Unless you open your eyes and your mind to what it actually is and how it materializes, you're going to be too dumb, too ignorant to realize it's there. You know, whatever you want, you get. Whatever you are willing to put your energy towards will come back. No two ways about it. We say it 1,000,000 times. If you want something, ask for it. Once you ask for it, take action to get it. It'll pop up every time. I was reading back in my journals the other day, and one of my mates was flicking over through them, and he's like, wow, this is, you know, I've got like 10 journals at home that I've filled out over the last couple of years. And he's like, wow, this is hectic. Like all the stuff that you're writing about here about business, and you know, this is where, oh shit, this is where ghetto was thought of. Like the first time ghetto movement was written on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, holy shit, this is hectic. And I'm like reading it, laughing, thinking, this is hilarious. Like, look what I used to think this was going to be. And like, oh man. But all of a sudden you see the model start to evolutionize in my mind, and it is what I wanted it to be. And he's like, oh man, it's, you know, it's inspiring. I can't do this. He's like, you know, you're so motivated, you're so into it. I'm like, do you know what I am? I'm well rehearsed. I've been planning this so much in my own mind and visualizing it and seeing it, that now that it's here, it doesn't faze me too much what's happening, because it's almost like I've played the game before. You know, people talk about it with athletes, like visualizing, sinking buckets, scoring tries, you know, throwing that big Hail Mary touchdown pass. You've got to visualize, you've got to see it before it happens to make sure it goes to plan. Why do people not do the same in their life? If the best athletes in the world use visualization and meditation as a form of practice to perfect their craft, why don't people do it for their life?
It's fascinating, isn't it? I think it's like why do you never do the simple things in life that will infinitely make your life better if you know you just did them? If you just got something done, it's like it's like the first couple of dishes that go on the sink, and you're like, it's just a couple of dishes.
It's gonna be fine. I don't have to do them now.
Yeah.
I'll do them later when I come back through.
Yeah.
Then the next time you come back, 2 more dishes.
Yeah.
2 more dishes. And then you got to fucking wash up this big fuck off pile of dishes. Dishwasher's not working.
Someone made a stew for some unknown reason.
Left
it 48 degrees and it's all caked.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
And that's life. That is the perfect metaphor for life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Yeah. And if you leave the dishes stacked, if you leave your clothes on the floor, you're going to leave mess everywhere else in your life. Do the 1%ers. Make your life easy. Take the bins out. Do the dishes. Pick up your shit. Have a shower before bed. Sorry. Fuck, I fucking hate that one. I got it now. Emma makes me shower Bowie before bed, so she gets 2 birds, 1 stone. She doesn't have to bath him and I have to have a shower.
Did you realise that before you got in, or you just got in the water and you're like, oh wait a minute?
Yeah, it's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. I was like, hang on a second. She's like, here you go, here's a washer and some soap. I'm like, shit.
That's got played.
I got fucking really played.
Yeah.
But it's those things. And if you get order in your life and order in your mind, everything else will fall into place. It sounds easy and it almost sounds like we're taking the piss, but it's so true. And if someone comes up to you and says, I've got the magic elixir, you're not going to believe it. You're just not going to believe it, because it's too good to be true. But if you do all the 1%ers, I'm not saying life's easy. Life is fucking hard. But if you do the 1%ers, it's not as hard as it looks. And it's not as hard as it feels sometimes. That's the thing. Is like, life isn't easy. These curveballs getting thrown left, right and center, and I get stressed and I get tired. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I go home and I have to hug Emma and I cry on her shoulder and I tell her, I don't know what to fucking do. But the answer isn't, oh, you poor thing, or maybe this will happen, oh, fuck those guys. The answer is never that. The answer is just a pat on the back and like, you'll figure it out. And they will. But like, if you're not open to doing that, then all these things, all the dishes stack up on your shoulders. Everything gets harder and harder.
Yeah. I think it's also cool, like when you think about that extension, someone giving you that answer and being like, oh, everything's all right. It just puts that like temporary band-aid, but it also forces you to not go, why does that person bother me? Why does what they say bother me? Why does that situation in my life?
Holding up a motherfucking mirror.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, and I think I thought about it before for a long time, because I used to be super dogmatic about health and like whether it came from nutrition, whether it came from like training principles, or like people had to be on a spiritual path. Like, how are you not meditating all the time? How are you not doing this? Why don't you spend $5,000 on treatment? Because I spend 10, 15, 20 grand on treatment. Why isn't that a priority for me? And I think I heard something really that was kind of powerful and resonated with me recently, which was sometimes when you see someone doing something or when you react to something, oftentimes it's you not wanting to see that weakness or that fear or that issue within yourself, and you judge people accordingly on that. So if someone comes in and they don't train, they're like, oh, I don't know why I don't train and something, and you're like someone who trains 4 hours a day, you're gonna be like, I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? Like what's going on? And you're seeing that, and sometimes it's just that thing, but oftentimes for me, I know for myself, it's like I don't want to see that weakness or that inability to rise to an occasion or be able to overcome something or be successful as I perceive success to be or anything like that. And I don't want to see it in myself so much, so sometimes I'm just reacting to that. But I'm like, you have to try and, I don't know, like, recognize something for what it is, find that peace with yourself and just fucking let it go so you can move forward.
That's the thing. Ultimately, everything that's happening around you, the people around you and what they're doing, they're just holding up a reflection, you know, and you react. When you see someone that you like what they're doing, you're either fantasizing about doing the same thing or you're happy because you are doing the same thing and you're similar. So you build that rapport.
Yeah.
But it works the other way too. You see something that someone's doing and you either hate it because you know you can fall into that trap and you don't want to. So it gets you upset, it gets you frustrated because you're like, oh, I'm over here grinding not to go and do that stuff. And here they are just doing it right in front of me. And that's why you're upset, because you know, you one little slip of falling off the rails and going down there. But then again, you can get angry and like resentful or jealous because of what someone's doing. And it's like, because you are doing it.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to see that in yourself. So you get angry at them because you're angry at yourself for like falling in to whatever habit or fucking thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, take a step back, have a look at what's going on. Why am I feeling this? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why am I turning red? Or why am I super happy about being around this person? And unpack it and take the good too. Be like, oh, I do that as well. That's why I'm drawn to it. That's why it makes me feel good. Because I do that stuff. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go spread more of my pixie dust.
Yeah.
You know, make more people happy. Because that person made me happy and I figured out why.
Yeah.
So you got to do it on both sort of planes, you know, like
Yeah.
find the happy, find the sad, find the angry, find everything in between. And enjoy the emotions, because it's the changing between them that makes you appreciate how constructive feeling different things can be. When you act on emotion and you act on, you know, timing of when you're feeling motivated to do certain things, and, you know, sometimes anger is a good motivator. Sometimes frustration is a good chance to pull the plug, think about, unpack, build.
Yeah, I think we put so much negative connotations with someone saying something bad about you, and someone being like, oh, don't say that about them because that's mean. And then like, that person's like absolved for taking self-responsibility because someone else has intervened and gone, don't say that to Will. Like someone said, for example, like, oh, Will's fat. Like, don't say that's mean to Will. Now it's body shaming Will or something like that. But it is absolves you from the ability of being like, am I fat? Or like asking yourself that question of, do I need to work on something? Do I need to, like, is this thing a real thing? Or is it just someone's negative, like they're always going to say something like that. And you take people's like sovereignty away from themselves, like it's not a good thing. Take it away from yourself.
Exactly, and you just need to be able to ask questions of yourself. That's the thing is, and it's a big thing we'll be pushing at our men's shed at the end of the month, is that it's okay to ask yourself questions. And it's okay to feel shit about certain things. It's normal. What's not okay is getting so caught up in someone else's opinion that it starts to affect the questions and the answers you give yourself. And that's where we need to band together as a community, you know, as a bunch of young, old, middle-aged lads that can help each other out and help each other see through the bullshit that we're feeding ourselves. Because, you know, we're fortunate enough that, you know, we ask ourselves questions and we can answer honestly because we can block most of the external stuff out. But a lot of guys don't have that tool. They don't have the ability to go, you know what, Joe's opinion doesn't really matter that much. Like, I heard what he said, but I don't agree with what he said, which is fine, so I'm just going to keep going on my merry way. Whereas if you're someone that gets caught up in that, and you don't have the tools to be able to pump yourself back up or decipher what's been said, you go, oh shit, man, Joe thinks I'm a loser. Maybe I am a loser. He's a real cool cat, like, you know, he knows the difference. Shit, I'm a fucking loser. Oh dear. So all of a sudden these stories start cooking, and it's like, it's all over Red Rover. You're down the rabbit hole and you don't know how to get out. Episode 11?
Episode 11.
Episode 11.
Oh! Imagine that. I don't think it's deleted anything. I think it's sweet.
Yeah, sweet. All right, episode 11. Jingle jangle, baby.
Marisa Dance.
That was good.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks, Joey. That was nice. We really unpacked a lot of shit.